Well, hello Australia. Today we have Moshe Praver. He's the COO at Medcredits. Good to have you here today, mate. Now tell us a bit about yourself and tell us a bit about your team.
Yeah, sure. First off, it's great being here. I'm a medical doctor by training. I went to Columbia University for medical school. That's in New York City here in the US. And then I did a few years of general medical training and surgical training. And that's really where I had a lot of frustration and witnessed firsthand the inefficiencies of our healthcare system. And so myself and my co-founder had gotten into the blockchain space in 2013. So we were very familiar with it and the types of problems it can solve. And so that's when we really set out to say, hey, how are we going to appropriately apply blockchain technology to the existing problems in healthcare? And so that's when we conceptualized what would become the Medcredits platform, which is a token curated registry and initially a telemedicine consultation platform. We built out the rest of the team. So we now have 5 medical doctors on our team. In addition to the co-founders, our first application's in dermatology. So we have a number of dermatologists on our team. We have 5 outstanding developers who are actually able to push out our alpha 2 months ahead of schedule. So 2 of them are experts in smart contract development and Solidity. 2 of them are doing the back-end web app and mobile app development, and 1 of them is doing front-end. And then we round out the team with people with heavy business experience and financial experience. 1 of them is a Wall Street trader. We're a team that works really well together, and we really love this platform.
That sounds awesome. It sounds like you've got a good rounded team covering all areas. So you've got your marketing, you've got back-end and front-end development. You've also got guys in the industry, in the medical industry as well. So you being a qualified registered medical practitioner, it's really good. So you've got all elements that's going to help this project go forward. Now, mate, definitely. Tell us a bit about Medcredits itself. Tell us a bit about what Medcredits is all about.
Yeah, so Medcredits, the one-liner is it's a platform that connects patients to physicians for healthcare services. Now, when it comes down to what that means in terms of code, that's a series of smart contracts and then APIs that handle things like encryption and decryption of medical data and open data standards. And then taken together, it really provides the infrastructure for the development of any kind of decentralized healthcare application. Now, what we're doing is proving out that technology stack by developing the first application on this platform, and that's a telemedicine application in the field of teledermatology. Over time, we're going to use these tools to foster a community of people building any kind of decentralized healthcare application, and that will over time become really our vision of what the Medcredits platform is going to be.
That sounds really great, mate. So tell us how come you use blockchain technology, a blockchain-powered platform on the of Medcredits.
Yeah, so in terms of telemedicine, patients and physicians are transacting in a trustless and permissionless environment. So you need a crypto asset to facilitate that transaction. Now, we've issued our own token, which actually has a different purpose besides carrying the transactional exchange. So we can kind of get into what that token does as well, if you want.
Yeah, sure. Well, we can go on to that on our next question, what the MedX token is all about, if you like.
Yeah, sure. So, we're describing a platform that connects patients to physicians for healthcare services. And so on Ethereum, there's no way for a smart contract to know which Ethereum address is a physician on the network. It has to be told that. And so that's really what our token is involved in. It's involved with the decentralized onboarding of new physicians into this platform. And it uses an incentive game called a token curated registry. And they've got very interesting properties, these token curated registries. Because they essentially incentivize a group of people who hold a token to create a registry of some sort. And in our case, it's a registry of licensed physicians. And the way it works is a new applicant to this registry will stake some tokens, and anyone else holding the token can challenge that applicant if they believe they're not a real doctor. If no challenge is raised, then the applicant gets into the registry, and with that comes the privilege of accessing patient case data and giving patients diagnoses and recommendations. But if a challenge is raised, then there's a voting round where everyone else holding this token can say, yes, we think this guy's a real doctor, let them into the registry, or no, this is clearly not a real doctor. I've looked into their credentials, the national databases, and we're going to reject this applicant. And so they've got very interesting properties because these token holders are heavily incentivized to bring as many doctors on board, but also keep the consistency being that this is 100% real doctors and there are no fake doctors in this registry. And if they do that, then they're able to also attract patients to use the services on this platform because they can trust the registry is providing valuable utility to them. So there's this big feedback loop that goes around where these token holders are very incentivized to create this registry, and this registry is what all our third-party healthcare applications are built on.
Sounds really good because it sounds like you can get a second opinion as well. And if you're not happy with the opinion of one doctor, you should also get the opinion of a second doctor as well.
Yes, so in our teledermatology application that we've created, there's a smart contract that governs the patient-physician encounter, and it's coded in such a way that it guarantees that a patient will get an honest, fair evaluation from a dermatologist. And the way it does that is also involving a staking mechanism where a patient will stake some tokens, and if they're unhappy with their first evaluation, they can request a second evaluation from some of the reserve in that stake and pull in a second physician to see, like, hey, do these two evaluations match each other? You know, if two doctors agree with each other, then there's a very good chance this patient is getting an honest, fair evaluation. But if the two doctors don't agree with each other, then the patient's kind of left somewhere in the middle where they don't really have any useful information. And so they get some heavily discounted tokens back from that initial amount that they staked. So the smart contract is there to really arbitrate a patient-physician encounter in an otherwise decentralized, permissionless system.
Oh, awesome. So it's got like an algorithm in place that sort of assesses all that information.
Correct, yeah.
Well, I see that you've got in your roadmap that you're in the alpha stage of your application, your decentralized application. Could you tell us a bit about that, mate?
Yeah, so that's the teledermatology application. And so the way that works is a patient can take a photo of any kind of skin problem they're concerned about. They submit some details along with the payment into this smart contract. And then we have all these licensed dermatologists in the token curated registry who can pull this case data off the queue and return rapid fire diagnoses and recommendations. And so this alpha is the very first global decentralized telemedicine application on the blockchain. And what it's doing is connecting patients anywhere in the world to physicians anywhere in the world and evenly distributing the supply and the demand for healthcare services. And what that does is really drive down the cost. So in this application, a patient can get an evaluation for $10 US, and the recommendation arrives within minutes, which is far exceeding the current standard that's available on the market.
So it sounds like with this application, it's fast, it's quick and easy. And if I've got this right, it's sort of like you can make a comparison for, say, the speed and the two-way conversation with Telegram. It's just an example. It's sort of that quick and easy feedback.
Correct. And the amount of time it takes is really dependent on how many doctors are there on the other side. And the neat thing about these token curated registries that we kind of got into is the incentive model is so strongly aligned that these token curated registries, potentially you could get every single dermatologist from the world on there, versus a traditional telemedicine application. They're very limited by their internal team and their ability to recruit physicians for like a single platform. So the difference there is, you know, if I have 100,000 dermatologists on this platform versus, you know, 2,000 dermatologists on a more centralized platform, you know, your diagnosis comes back, you know, 50 times faster on average.
Oh, awesome. Great stuff. So, mate, tell us about the long-term goal and vision of Medcredits.
Yeah, so our goal is to offer infrastructure to support the development of any kind of decentralized healthcare application. And so we've kind of paved the way with the first one, and that's all going to be out there ready to go by the time our token sale ends. And so after that, our role is really going to be fostering a community of developers and then patients and physicians using these applications the way we envision the platform should be used. And so, the most logical way I think this will unfold is, first off, maximize the potential in telemedicine. We've already demonstrated a working telemedicine app, so go after other fields like ophthalmology, primary care, internal medicine, pediatrics, telestroke, all those kind of things, and really establish Medcredits as a global telemedicine platform. But I mentioned we have other features and APIs. So our physician registry has metadata associated with each physician, and we have encoded into this open data standards. And so there is the potential to take this data and structure it into what would resemble an electronic medical record, or take all the metadata associated with physician and create a physician referral platform. And so where I see us going after telemedicine is, say, a patient had a telemedicine evaluation and the doctor's saying, you need to really see a doctor in person. Anyone can build a very quick physician referral platform and say, hey, go see this doctor who's on the Medcredits registry. And that's how we're able to transition from a telemedicine platform into office-based and hospital-based medicine. There are so many other things you can do, where you could create multi-sig contracts once you have enough patients who can pool their Ethereum or whatever crypto asset into this contract so that it'll pay out if a single patient in that contract needs something they can't afford their own healthcare bills at the time. So that's almost like a decentralized crowdsourced healthcare insurance. You could do the same thing with physicians, where they pool all their money for malpractice insurance coverage so that if one of the physicians in that multi-sig contract needs to pay out for a lawsuit, they're covered in that regard. So, the long-term vision is this is a platform that combines healthcare services, the management of healthcare data, and the financial backbone for healthcare services into one platform that's all decentralized and all on the Ethereum blockchain.
Well, it sounds like you've got a long-term vision in place. I'm just thinking of electronic medical records where, you've got your history. It's sort of down the track. You'll be able to access your data, like your medical history and them sort of things, which is really good. So, mate, tell us, do you have a KYC, going into more the investment side of things now, do you have a KYC in place and a whitelist for, say,
so
you want to invest, like US investors and things like that?
So we can get into the US thing, but just in terms of the whitelist, if you go to our website, there's a sign up for the pre-sale. So you can sign up for a whitelist that we're running. And then on or around March 1st is when we actually open the pre-sale for contributions. And so that's when we'll reach out to everyone on that whitelist to get their KYC done. And then, once you're on the whitelist, you're given sort of first priority in terms of this pre-sale. And once we move through the KYC for all those people, then the pre-sale is going to run for 2 months, whereas anyone can immediately sign up, do their KYC, and contribute to the pre-sale.
Oh, and then, sorry, mate.
Yeah. Oh, and then in terms of US contributions, that came up. Unfortunately, we're not accepting US contributions, and that's because essentially the SEC has not given strict guidelines in terms of how to treat these crypto assets. Can you issue them to US contributors? So just in terms of our own personal appetite for risk, we're avoiding that for the time being. We obviously want to be inclusive, as inclusive as possible. So as soon as guidelines come out from the SEC, we'll have a thorough legal evaluation of that. And if we meet those criteria, we'd obviously love to have US contributors participate.
Sure, no, at the moment with SEC, there's a lot of news going around. It doesn't seem like they're given a very strong stance. They're not 100% sure with the guidelines for ICOs at the moment. And I know it can be quite a headache, especially for US ICOs at the moment. And just with talking with other US ICOs, it seems like they want to try and get everything right before they go ahead and they go ahead with US investors or not. So it's most pretty good that you're taking the time and you're being conscientious of that. And so would you consider yourselves as a security or utility? Because I know with the security classification at the moment, they might be changing that.
Right. So we don't consider ourselves a security in terms of the Howey test, which is a US test for securities. We don't meet those criteria. But again, the Howey test, I think, was written in the 1930s or 1940s. And crypto assets have come into existence in the last 2 years, and they're a brand new asset class. So while we don't meet the Howey test, we still need them to say, you know, how do we treat these crypto assets? What is the 2018 guidelines for this new technology before we go out on a limb and sell to US contributors? With that said, in terms of how we personally in our analysis and our legal consultation have viewed our token, it's a utility token for multiple reasons.
It's good that, you know, you're considering all the legal sides of it. You want to be as compliant as you can with the law.
Right.
Really good. So, mate, tell us about the US, and for investors outside of the US, to anyone who wants to get involved with Medcredits, how can people get involved in your ICO?
Right. So on our website, medcredits.io, you can, if you go there, it's kind of staring you in the face. You say, sign up for the pre-sale, fill out your information. There's no financial commitment on your part at that point. That's just kind of a placeholder for once on March 1st, once we start going through the KYC, we're going to go in order of sign up. So just by getting on the whitelist at this point, you have a very strong chance of being in our pre-sale. The other thing is join us on Telegram. There's a link to that on our website as well. And there's a lot of active discussion about our platform on Telegram. And I think that's the best way to educate yourself and do your own research in terms of what this platform is before committing some sort of contribution.
Sure. So how can people, you accepting ERC20 tokens? Are you accepting other forms of currency as well?
So we're definitely accepting Ether. And we're in sort of touch with who's going to run our token sale, and it's likely we're going to be able to accept Bitcoin as well.
It sounds wonderful, mate. So tell us, is there anything else of your ICO? Any other the major details?
We're aiming for March 1st.
March 1st, okay.
Yeah, so that's when the pre-sale will open. It's going to run for 2 months. Immediately following the pre-sale, we're going to do a 1-month public sale, and then we're going to rapidly distribute the tokens at the close of the public sale. So from pre-sale to finish should be 3 months, and then people will get their tokens right after that. And the key is, at that point, there will be a functioning teledermatology app and a functioning token curated registry and all this infrastructure to build third-party healthcare apps. So the moment you get your tokens, you can actually dig in and use this platform for what it's meant for.
It's really good because at the moment you have actually a working application that people can go, if you go on the website, guys, you can ask for an invite and you can actually have a feel of their application. So they've actually got something in place, which is really good because you see a lot of ICOs out there, they don't actually have an application already in place. So these guys actually have something that's already there.
Right, and it's really humbling because we get emailed every day by doctors who want to be on this platform, and so we kind of just want to launch it already because we have so many people ready to go. So once we actually have these tokens out there, we're really excited to be offering a real service to people who don't have good access or can't afford their own healthcare at this point.
So I hear that you've got a conference coming up this weekend. Do you have any upcoming conferences in the US or outside of the US coming up?
Yeah, so we're going to be at the Bitcoin Super Conference. Our CEO, James Todaro, will be there talking about telemedicine applications from a physician perspective. We do have some other stuff lined up. I'm probably going to be in the UK talking to various groups of business schools over there. Other members of our team are kind of bouncing around at different meetups. We did an Ethereum meetup recently. We have a few more in the pipeline. So yeah, we're trying to get the word out about our platform, and it's really exciting just kind of educating people, and we're already starting to foster this community that we want to see on our platform. And so It's really exciting to see a vision that we came up with over a year ago now coming to fruition, and it'll be launched very shortly.
Oh, it sounds really exciting, mate. It sounds really good. So, guys, down below will be the links to Medcredits. So the ICO details, how on Twitter, the website, Telegram group will all be down below. If you want to check them out, if you're looking to get involved with Medcredits. Now, thank you so much for your time, Moshe. It's been really good talking to you, mate.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks so much for having me on.
No worries. Catch you later. Have a good day.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.